Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's your boy Vic Slang Hope, and I got another video for y'all. And in this video, just want to chop it up real quick. So you know how oftentimes we always hear like, protect the women and the children, right? We heard that a lot. And if we didn't hear it in the household, you heard that out there in the streets, or you heard some old heads talking about that, right? Like, no woman, no children, especially when you're doing whatever you're doing out there in the streets. But for some reason, like, when the term protect the woman and the children, when they're talking about the children, it almost never really include the young boys, right? And I was thinking about this the other day, because it's like, even like you hear rhetoric around like, sexual assault and stuff like that, right? And even although it happens to young boys too, we always talking about it in a sense of our young girls or our young women, right? Young ladies. So like, even as a young boy is growing up and he experiences certain things, like, when the young boy gets hurt, when he falls, it's like, suck it up, like, stand up, hold it down. Like, people be like, you be all right. But when it happens to like the women or like the young girl, like, everybody runs to her, right? Everybody coddles her, everybody. Not saying that men should be coddled. I'm just trying to paint a picture here, right? That when we say protect our children, from a very young age, we already sending messages to young boys, like, you got to figure it out, right? From a very young age, we sending those messages. You got to figure it out. So when they grow up with the sense of, I gotta figure it out, right? Unless they have their dads, and unfortunately, sometimes even when the dads is around, they raise their children in a neglectful way. But most of the times, a lot of dudes in our communities don't really have their dads around, right? So they grow up with just mama, which makes things even worse. Because some of them, they either coddle you too much, or they become so hyper aggressive and masculine because they think that's what you need. And that in turn ends up even messing you up, right? So, but the reason I brought this topic up is because we neglect our young boys, right, from a very young age. They go up to their teenage years, and it's still neglectful. I was watching this video, not video, but I be watching pictures of like women posting up their kids and saying like, oh, my baby graduated, and the kids will be in the pictures throwing up gang signs, and it's just like, do you not even realize what your son is throwing up? That's kind of like a form of neglect. Like, you're not even really involved in your child's life, that you're just so caught up like, oh, at least he graduated high school, or at least he whatever, right? But you don't even realize he throwing up some crazy stuff in his pictures, right? And then you be like, my baby was a good kid. He was a good boy. But I was chilling with the homeboys the other day, right? We was chilling, you know what I'm saying? We was out. I was catching up with some old folks from back in the days, And we was just sitting there reminiscing, and like, not reminiscing, but like replaying a lot of things that happened when we were younger, right? A lot of us, we don't really see each other. I don't really go to the hood like that, so people don't really see me. Like, I made guest appearances. You know what I'm saying? I pull up, I'm like, yo, what up? What's good? And then I kind of like, I be on my way, I dip out, right? They was like, yo, where you be at? I'm like, man, I ain't nothing in the hood, man. Like, I ain't hanging in the hood. But anyway, the point I was trying to get to is like, we was replaying a lot of the things that the old heads kind of like taught us, right? Like, how they kind of like manipulated and played with our psyche, with our minds, right? And it was just like, yo, like, we was just sitting there talking about like how certain individuals molded us to be a certain way, right? Like dudes was really trying to train killers. Not saying I'm a killer. I ain't no killer. You get what I'm saying? and I don't think a lot of my immediate friends is killers. But people had a certain type of influence over people, and they was the puppet masters, right? And they was manipulating, and a lot of us was young men, without guidance. And the same cycle, you see it today, right? You see a lot of these dudes still influencing our young boys, still manipulating them, still getting our young boys out there to do dummy missions, to throw their life away. And it's like a recurrent cycle. And I was just like, yo, that's crazy. Like, how, like, but part of this, the reason why this ends up happening, I believe, in a lot of ways, is because that neglect already existed from when that boy was young. From when that boy was young and he fell and scraped his knee, and his folks told him, figure it out, or shut up, don't cry. That already silences a young boy to be able to talk to you about certain issues, right? So when you get to a certain age and you're dealing with certain issues, like when I got to a certain age and I'm dealing with problems, I wasn't coming home and telling my mom I got into a fight in school. I wasn't coming home and telling my mom, you know, this is what's going on. Like, I got jumped. Like, my mom would never know anything that I was dealing with, that I was battling with. Because a lot of times, from a very early age, you're already being told not to cry. You're already being told to hold it down. You already being told, like, you really can't say much. So you grow up with that. Like who I'm like, why am I running home to tell my mom? Like, what my mom was supposed to do? You get what I'm saying? And then you're also, as you're growing up, you becoming a man, and you're like, I'm not going to get my mama. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. But again, like I said, a lot of these things being programmed already, right? That nobody really care. So now you got people that easily come through and act like they care. What's up, little homie? Like, yo, what's good? You trying to smoke? You know what I'm saying? You trying to get into something? You trying to, like, you know? So the thing is, like, it's like, wow, like, we really neglect our young boys, and then, like, by the time they get into things, it be too late. By the time we try to reach out to them, they're already in the game. By the time we trying to reach out to them, they're already on their way to prison. They're already on their way. Some of them already been to juvenile. So they already get caught up because we don't catch them at the right time. So I was just thinking about, like, and this is the type of stuff we endorse, right? This is the type, like, I look on YouTube and on Instagram, and, like, how people feed the drama. Like, I hear the music, how you hear these dudes talking about my young boys. Like, I get my young boys. I heard a song from Lil Durk, and he was saying, like, my young boys will kill you for some Jordans. And I was just like, people are proud of this. Like, it's so many songs with these older dudes, or these artists are talking about how they got young boys willing to throw their life away for them, or for the gang, or just one call, or I just give him a Percocet and he going off. Like, and we push this, we promote this. Don't get me wrong, I listen to, like, whatever I listen to, but I don't promote the life I used to live. You'll never catch me telling somebody that's cool. You'll never catch me glorifying none of the stupid shit I used to do. Never. But it just had me thinking, like, how it becomes so easy when those young boys reach a certain age, because they've been neglected for a long time. They've been neglected since they were kids. Or they just didn't have a father figure, and if they did, he probably was neglected them too. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a deep moment of reflection, man, when we was talking about a lot of, like, the participants, and the way that some of us turned out, right? And the hood is an ugly place, you know. A lot of people are trying to survive. There's some troublemakers. There's other people who are not really troublemakers, but they just trying to make sure they good. They just trying to defend themselves and their families, and make it home every day, right? And stop people from bullying them or taking advantage of them. So, like, it's a lot of stuff that kind of, like, be going on, but, like, I think, like, the beginning of a lot of these things is the neglect that happens very early on, especially with our boys. So when we say protect our children, man, we gotta be more mindful about our boys, man. We gotta be more mindful about our boys. like I'm a strong advocate for advocating for young men, young boys, because I understand. I literally followed this trajectory of like becoming and falling into the traps and being manipulated to a certain extent by older men in the community, right? That didn't have my best interest. They really just used me as pawns to kind of like take credit after like we did whatever we did. That's really what they was doing. But it was a deep build, man. It was a deep build with the homeboys, man. And we was just talking about that stuff, you know. A lot of them folks is still, you know, still in that lifestyle. And I'm just like, nah, like I'm good, you know. But I still get my respect when I come around and it be all love. And I try to talk to them, man. I try to give them a good word. They already know my stance. They know, they see my videos. They know I'm all about the positivity. And even though a lot of them is about the positivity, but to them, they just feel like that's part of who they are. Like, and to me, that's not a part of who I am. Like, I lived in that for at a certain period of time, but like I've evolved. And even though certain things, you don't forget what you used to do out there, right? It's not like I'm like the Men in Black thing, where they used to press the button and you forget. Like, you know, that's not the reality, right? But the truth is that like I learned to grow. I learned to be patient. I learned to like know to when to kind of unleash my beast. And I learned to overlook certain things and walk away from certain things. Certain things is not that serious. But I'm telling you, man, like if you ain't got no role models for your kids, or if the pop's not around for your boy, get him around somebody, man. Get him around some type of influential men that can help them as they're trying to figure out their manhood. Because if not, them people that's out there waiting for them to recruit, them dudes that is out there waiting to put the battery in their back, waiting to put a pack in their hand or put a gun in their hand, they out there and they waiting for your sons. And a lot of times they know they being neglected because those same men were neglected too, right? So let's really protect all our children, not just the girls, but let's protect our boys too. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Peace.